look to your buddies, you look to your friends.
There's only a couple guys in the whole world that make me love pro wrestling, and you're one of them.
You know, all the bad shit you heard about us, it's all true. But another thing that's true is we love professional wrestling, and that's why we're here. I'm not sports entertainment anymore.
Talk to him, kid. This is a new beginning, and it starts tonight.
A new day is dawning for DX.
You know who you're talking to?
Welcome to X-Pac 12360, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure it's mostly gentlemen, but if I had to guess.
There's a few ladies here, so
yeah,
you never know.
That's why I had the ladies here. Got to represent the ladies in this thing too. Anyways, good to be back. And this week our guest is going to be Gail Kim, and she's legit like one of the best lady wrestlers ever.
Oh yeah,
female wrestler.
Definitely.
Yeah. I was kind of out of circulation when she had her like big run WWE, and that. Well, I'm a little bit more familiar with her TNA stuff. TNA Hall of Famer, just a real credit to the professional wrestling industry. But anyways, go through the motions here on the couch. Over here on the couch, everyone doesn't feel like they're left out. Jimbo on the couch.
What's up, Sean?
Denise Salcedo.
Hey guys.
Over here, we missed him last week. Bill Handstock from uprocks.com with spandex. And the lovely TK Trinidad.
I feel like we should just have you just do it once, and then we just drop it
or
in there.
Something, right? It just feels so
or like
monotonous.
hit the cue and it just goes through everyone's info. I like it.
We'll put that on the to-do list for you.
So, anyways, but a little bit later on we'll have Gail on. But there are a few things going on in wrestling, and like things having to do with wrestling. So, what would those be?
Oh my gosh, huge UF! Like, did you see the fight, the UFC fight?
I didn't see the whole fight, but I saw the
main one, the one that everybody.
Potatoes.
Yeah, everybody was there. So it was in Anaheim at the Honda Center.
Yeah.
So The Rock made a huge appearance there, and he was obviously backing John Jones, which is kind of weird when celebrities kind of do that. But huge fight between John Jones and Daniel Cormier.
Yeah.
Jones came out winning, and after that he issued a kind of fight challenge to Brock Lesnar, which was quite.
That's pretty much. Weren't people expecting that? Because I was hearing rumors of a Jones Brock Lesnar fight before the DC fight.
Yeah, they had been trading some barbs in the press.
And so I'm gonna assume that behind the scenes, like there was some kind of a verbal agreement. Yeah, we'll fight each other. I'm gathering, or else they wouldn't have gotten this far.
Well, Brock put himself back in USADA testing,
right.
3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they all knew the score.
So you think that they or somebody kind of whispered in both their ears, like, this is what should happen, and this is...
It's just a natural big money fight.
Yeah.
And really, come on, Jones was out for quite a while, and I'm sure it cost him a lot of money. And, after this big win, it's a big win, but it's not as, and don't get me wrong, DC versus John Jones is a huge fight.
Yeah.
But as far as like getting some of that paper back in the bank, like I'm pretty sure this Brock Lesnar fight is going to blow that away. Come on.
He was making a lot of Fitness Expo appearances in the meantime when he wasn't working, so.
Well, I mean, that helps, but it's not the same as making that big fight.
Marquee money.
Yeah.
Especially after the Mayweather fight, they're going to need another big, like, drawing fight. So
So
I see it happening.
So is there a lot of crossover from, like, because Brock is so huge in the WWE, would you get a huge crossover into the UFC, or is there already a big crossover?
I think there's already a big crossover. There always has been.
Yeah, there's a lot of wrestling fans who watch MMA. There's fewer MMA fans that watch wrestling.
Correct.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a UFC?
No.
Yes.
Anybody?
Yeah.
I was at 100 when Brock lost to Kane. It was sad, but it was cool.
Different Kane.
Yeah.
what I love is how then on Raw they went on to not really say like, oh, you know, Brock is gonna go fight John Jones, whatever. No, they kind of, Paul Heyman was like, if he loses at SummerSlam, we're leaving. So everybody's like thinking like, oh yeah, he's gonna go fight John Jones at, you know, in the UFC. So I liked how they did that on Raw, where they kind of played to it, but didn't really use. Didn't really actually say that though.
But here's the issue though. If he does, so SummerSlam's in August. In Dana White's interview, the post interview after the fight, he was saying Brock wouldn't be eligible for 6 months anyway. Yeah. So is there a crossover? Like, is there with WWE, like you have to kind of refrain from another organization to a period of time? So is he giving? If that were the case, or? Well,
Brock's under contract with WWE until next WrestleMania. Yeah. And he wouldn't be able to fight again until about the Royal Rumble, if not WrestleMania. So, I mean, WWE and UFC worked it out last time where Brock was under contract and he fought for UFC, and Vince or whoever was involved sort of did that as a favor to both UFC and to Brock.
Because really, honestly, it's good for both WWE and UFC. Let's be honest with you.
The fight last time lined up so well with SummerSlam. Yeah. So, but so there's that precedent already of like we'll work with Brock and we'll work with UFC to make this happen. So, regardless of whether Brock loses, like there's a lot of different stories you can tell.
Look, honestly, Brock doesn't lose no matter what. Even if he loses the fight, he doesn't lose because you know that's John Jones he would have lost to. Yeah, best fighter maybe ever. Yeah. Okay, so. No big deal right there. Nothing to be, nothing to hang your head about. Sure. So, and you know, if he wins, come on, you know.
So do you think? So if you when that, because it sounds like we're all agreeing that matchup's going to happen. So whose corner do you think? Like, if you were going to bet some money on, who would you bet your money on?
Oof, I don't. You know what? You gotta. You put money on Brock because that's the only way to make any money on that. Exactly. Not that Brock doesn't have a chance. Right. Not that Brock doesn't have a chance. It's not that. But come on, you know.
Well, because John Jones is going up a weight class.
That's right.
But he's a full-time MMA fighter. He's been doing this a long time. And like you said, more people should be talking about him as one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. If he beats Brock, people are going to start talking about that a lot more.
Yeah. Well, I think too, if he kind of stays necessarily under the radar and doesn't get into too much trouble this time around, which I hope he does.
And I was watching the UFC post-fight stuff on FS1, and you know, they were trying to hype up the possibility of this fight, you know, and then you get to Michael Bisping and he's like, you know, the steroids and but Kenny Florian pointed out, John Jones failed the same test for the exact same substance, and it wasn't a steroid, by the way. Right. Clomid is not a steroid. So I'm just so, you know, maybe Bisping is one of those guys that didn't touch any kind of performance-enhancing drug, but if he is, well, I mean, he may be. I take people's word for it. Right. But so many people that you take their word for it ended up being full of shit.
Right.
So. Yeah, it's true.
And some people might not consider something an enhancer, but technically it still is. Like you might say, oh well, like for you know, it's just you just never know.
Anyways, I hope it happens. Yeah. I hope it happens. I think it'd be great for everyone. Yeah.
And then closer to home, SummerSlam. So Cyborg and Becky Lynch has been going at it. Yeah. So Cyborg just won on UFC. Yeah. So do you think Cyborg is going to appear on SummerSlam like Ronda Rousey did a few years ago?
Sure. Yeah, I do. I don't know if it's going to be SummerSlam necessarily, but it might at least plant a seed there. Yeah.
Like she's in the crowd. They have some kind of stare down.
Because I mean, unless she's been in the wrestling ring, unless she's been training in a ring and all that, I mean, I don't think she would be ready to do anything by SummerSlam anyways.
Right. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. It just feels like people have just been like crapping on her for so long, Cyborg. Yeah. And like she finally got an opportunity in UFC, and obviously everybody knew she was going to win. It wasn't any big deal. Yeah. Even though that big fight, which we probably won't see between her and Ronda Rousey, is ever going to happen.
No.
But
honestly, I don't really want to see it anymore.
Well, I would have liked to see it when Ronda was in her prime, but now it's just like if she comes back.
I'll be honest with you. I don't really want to see Ronda Rousey come back.
I don't think she can afford to right now. Like, there's no point.
To fighting, period, or you'd like to see her in WWE, you'd like to see her doing movies,
well, actually,
not UFC?
Truthfully, I want to see her do whatever makes her happy, but I mean, I wouldn't I'd hate to see her like go back into fighting if she's not all in on it, you know. End up getting knocked out again.
Like her passion's been taken out.
Well, I think when you're used to winning so much and then you've been gassed up so much, because I read her book and she was, you know, Dana put a lot of stock into her, and he believed in her, which was great, but he also kind of put her on this pedestal. So if you're used to being that and then you get knocked down, like you're not used to that, and then people.
It's a long way to fall, you guys.
Yeah.
And then she loses again.
She'd gone her entire life without experiencing any significant form of failure.
Yeah.
And beyond that, her mom was a champion judoka.
Yeah.
So it's like her whole way of life, her entire life, has been everything's going to go right. I'm the best. Everything's going to go my way forever. Yeah. And then when that doesn't happen, it's impossible to deal with.
Which is not always the greatest mentality to have. You know, you have to think about the fact that you could lose one day, and I think that's probably why it hit Ronda so hard, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I think she's over the fight. She's gonna try to make. She's been doing a couple TV shows, some movies and stuff like that, which I don't think she's. I don't know. We'll see how she.
I mean, Gina Carano has carved out a nice little career for herself as an actress. I think Ronda can do at least the same.
Sure.
We'll see.
But she's gonna sign with WWE at some point.
You think
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope it works out.
Yeah.
As enough time passes and people forget the.
Well, not even that. I feel like you can position her as someone. I mean, because her record is unparalleled up until the 2 losses.
Yeah.
So like, she was still the most dominant fighter, regardless of gender, in the world for years. So it's not like that wears off. Like, look how many times who Randy Orton's lost, or whatever. He's still a 13-time champion.
That's right.
I wonder if she's gonna start issuing statements to Mayweather again, and after the whole fight with Mayweather and McGregor happens, they'll probably try to do like a genderless match.
Well, we got the tease of the 4 horsewomen versus the new 4 horsewomen.
Yeah, but how many people really care about that?
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I know you do, Jimbo. And maybe, people here in the room, but like on a mainstream basis, like I don't think anybody even knows what that is.
Yeah, but I think on a mainstream basis,
man.
putting out 4 UFC fighters are going to WWE to take on 4 of the top WWE superstars is going to get press, and people are going to talk about
they
it.
have to be named
one
UFC
fighter
fighters.
in NXT, Shayna
She's
Baszler.
in the Mae Young Classic, and she's one of the 4 horsewomen.
Isn't that Josh's girlfriend?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Josh Barnett.
Yeah, I don't know, but they're
he was training
together.
Her or something. Right?
Yeah, he definitely has a hand in her training.
I think give it 3 years, and if all 4 of the UFC 4 horsewomen sign with WWE, give that the time to build them up, because Shayna Baszler's amazing.
Is she?
Yeah, she's
awesome.
She's like Matt Riddle. She's just immediately.
She appeared on Divas a couple of times too.
Yeah. She's one of those people that you would never you can't believe that they pick it up so fast. She's just
really? One of those, yeah.
Just
like
Riddle.
Matt Riddle,
you can't imagine. I still can't believe how good he is so soon.
I think what you're saying is we have to, on the UFC side, kind of have 4 dominant women. Like in the UFC, you only knew 1 or 2.
Because we did know the NXT 4 horsewomen for years. True. And then they became the NXT 4 horsewomen. So I think that if you bring in, eventually sign all 4 to NXT or Performance Center or whatever, give us some time to get to know them, and then they'll come together. Yeah. You already know they're friends.
Right.
So they have a head start over the other 4 horsewomen in that respect. And then, we get to know them, we get to see them on WWE TV, and then the 2 factions go head to head.
Misha Tate.
Yeah.
She would be a good crossover. She has the look, she has the style. People were really rooting for her at one point. She would.
Kat Zingano too.
Yeah. That would definitely be. Now that I'm hopping on your dream now.
It'd be a great Survivor Series.
Yeah.
For sure.
Old school team versus team, captain and captain. It'd be awesome, and it'd cross over into mainstream. Yeah, okay.
I mean, you're selling it to me now. I'm believing in this dream.
Man, but a lot can go wrong in there. Especially when you don't have any experience, man. It's not like we can just go out there and say, okay, first we do this, then a lot of shit goes wrong out there. And if people aren't buying what you're selling, and then you're stuck in this, that's all you got to sell.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, hopefully all the other women they'd be in the ring with are good enough to cover up those.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. Anyways, so you guys saw SmackDown last night?
Yeah.
Everyone? I didn't see it, but actually I saw parts of it, and I was pleasantly surprised with the finish of John Cena versus Shinsuke Nakamura. How about you guys?
I think that we didn't expect it a lot. Everybody mostly thought that it was going to be John Cena against Jinder at SummerSlam. So having Shinsuke take that win was really shocking. And now it kind of leaves me like, okay, well, what's going to happen here at SummerSlam? Because, you know, if John Cena would have lost to Jinder, it would have been like, okay, it's Jinder's great push. John Cena's not really going to lose much. But now what kind of dynamics are we going to be seeing with Shinsuke and Jinder? So that's going to be really interesting.
I'm just curious as to, like, were there any, like, was there any backlash last night of people trying to figure out how John Cena was still trying to bury Nakamura? I mean, he put the guy over clean in the middle of the ring, man, and got dumped on his head. And that was a real, like, you know, when I saw the suplex he gave him, as soon as I saw him going for it, I'm like, how's this gonna, like, because even when it goes well, like, the guy usually lands all effed up, right?
Yeah. I'm just kind of happy that we're going to be getting the American versus non-American face heel story is now out of the picture, and now Jinder gets to be just a bad guy.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But look, I still think Shinsuke Nakamura versus John Cena was a match that, man, giving that match away on SmackDown
so soon.
Yeah, that's a big ass match right there.
But a lot of Nakamura's high-profile matches to this point, the rematch has been better. So, sort of give him and Cena that opportunity to work out the kinks. This is the first chapter. They'll meet again.
Usually they do work the kinks out stuff on house shows.
Right.
Shade.
No, I'm just saying that's how it goes. Like, you know, we would say we would have a pay-per-view match coming up. Well, we would work. I'm going to give you a better example. The WrestleMania 10 ladder match, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. They had about 20 of those ladder matches before on house shows before they got to WrestleMania.
And you said some of them were even
way
better.
Way better. It is. Aw.
That was Lou. That was Lou yawning for everybody listening.
That's her yawning? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
He didn't step on her. She's fine.
I didn't see hear the general snoring, so I was like, oh, this is a different sound.
She just bit me.
She's more active today.
Jesus, Lou, what was that? Oh my God, she just bit me with her one tooth. You guys.
How do you bite with only half of your mouth?
You'd be
Is that one of those philosophical questions?
Oh my God, that just distracted me.
She's growing up.
Whatever. Lou, you're on this. Anyways.
So, are we ready for our guest?
Yeah, let's take a break and we'll come back with Gail Kim.
What's up, party people? Roxy Stryer here from The Tomorrow Show with Keven Undergaro. We're your twice-weekly broadcast of one man's midlife crisis and the mad millennials in Star Trek uniforms that follow him.
And I'm one of those millennials, Lauren LaGrasso here. We've had some amazing guests like Russell Simmons, Ileana Douglas, and Craig Gass. Coolio, right?
Christian Blatt in the house to tell you to go to thetomorrowshow.com to check us out. We're live every Monday and Thursday from 10 to midnight Eastern. That's thetomorrowshow.com. Be there or be square, whatever that means.
She is a 17-year veteran, a former WWE Women's Champion, a 6-time TNA Knockouts Champion, a TNA Hall of Famer. Please welcome Miss Gail Kim.
All right, Gail. Hi, Gail.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you for coming on. Hey, Gail, we met and crossed paths several times, but we never really actually had a chance to actually have a legitimate conversation. So I'm glad that you could come on today.
I know, this is kind of true.
Yeah, right?
It's true. And I don't feel like we ever really worked. Like, did we work together for, I mean, if we did, it was for a minute, I feel like.
Yeah, I think we might have just crossed paths. Like maybe I was in TNA for a minute when you were there or something. Maybe not even a minute, actually, knowing me.
But I will have to say, my impressions of you always have been, you are so polite and so kind and so respectful, obviously. I mean,
thanks.
So I'm thankful for that, because sometimes you meet people, at least I think earlier in my career, when I first started, you meet wrestlers that you looked up to or watched, and sometimes you can be disappointed. So, but that doesn't happen so much anymore, I don't feel like.
Which is cool. But it's happened. You know what's happened to me, Gail? I'm not going to get into that because that would be us talking about other people, and we're here to talk about you today. But, but no,
everybody's cool.
Yeah. I was just noticing that you're trained by Ron Hutchison, and God, he's trained a lot of great wrestlers.
He has, and it's funny because when I found the wrestling school, I remember I was just searching. I don't know, must have been looking up wrestling. I wasn't looking for a wrestling school. Yeah. And I remember just finding that he trained Trish, Edge, Christian. I believe, I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, there was many others. So I remember just thinking, well, obviously, if these guys went there, I'm going to check it out. And it turned out to be awesome. Yeah. Because he just really taught me the fundamentals of wrestling really well. He was always, kind of when you start wrestling, most people want to learn the cool moves.
That's right.
Want to jump into things, and he just always did things the right way.
Yeah, everyone wants to learn how to hit the ropes and do spots.
Assaults and power bombs.
Yeah, and
high flying moves.
And was Rob Echeverria part of your training there, or was that later on?
Yeah, so that was a little bit later on. So Rob was part of the group of Edge and Christian and those guys, and he trained with them. And then after maybe a year of me training with Ron, he opened up his own wrestling school, which is more lucha libre based, and I just felt this strong affinity towards that. And he was always a great supporter of women's wrestling as well. Yeah. And he was always telling me, we'd watch something and he would say, "Oh, well, you can do this." And even when I had doubts or any type of doubt, he would always say, "Come on, Gail, you can do it." And then, majority of the time, he made me accomplish things that I never thought I could.
He was very good, and I know Rob a little bit because he actually traveled with myself and Shawn Michaels on a little trip in Canada. Carl DeMarco. Oh, nice. Yeah, Carl DeMarco. He used to be called El Fuego at one time. I'm sure you probably know that, right? Yeah, but so anyways, he probably has a story or two of traveling with us. We were probably all messed up. Yeah, we were probably completely messed up, and he wasn't, or something like. Anyways, that's
yeah, you're right. I don't think he even drinks. I've never seen him drink.
No.
Or get messed up in any way. So
no, very nice, super nice,
Yeah,
guy.
Very nice.
But,
well, with training with them and them instilling the fundamentals in you, did that help you when you went and worked on British Boot Camp to help train those people?
Yeah, there were so many years in difference from there. If that was any earlier in my career, probably not. But when I did British Boot Camp, that was such a fun thing to do. And I felt very confident, because the thing that people don't realize is that you might be good at wrestling or the wrestling moves or whatever it is, promos, but it takes a really long time to feel like you can lead and feel like you're really comfortable. And I honestly felt like that confidence came at least 8 years into me working and being thrown on television when I was green and learning very quickly and, going through all the uncomfortable things. But it took a really long time. I always tell the girls who are very anxious and, pick apart, which is great. I still to this day pick apart my matches and things that I do. I'm a perfectionist. But when they do, I always tell them, listen, that stuff is going to come with time. It's just experience and, repetitive, doing it repetitively and just a lot of experience.
When you're, going backwards a little bit before British Boot Camp, you got to train with Fit Fendley, and there's not a better wrestler, period, in the entire business than Fit Fendley. And it was so obvious once he started working with the ladies in WWE. The quality of the matches just went through the roof.
Yeah, I agree with that. Whenever people ask me who is kind of my influences or who helped me the most in this business, Fit was always one of them. And the way that he always contributed to who I am today is the aggressiveness. He brought out, this aggressiveness out of the girls. When I first started and I was so green, he would say, "No, you need to be more aggressive." And so I'd go out there and I'd be more aggressive, and then I come back and he's like, "No, more aggressive." And I think he said that maybe 3 matches in a row until I'm literally, safely being very aggressive towards these girls and kind of laying it in. And I've kept that with me to this day, and I try to pass that on to the girls that are coming into the company that work with me. So, and doing things that way is what separates the modern day
ladies from like the ladies of the past, and nothing against them because they paved the way, but you know they had a different style. The women's style was a different style, Gail, right? You know that fabulous Moolah style with all the pulling of the hair and the hair whips and all this, and it was just like, okay, there's women's wrestling spots and then there's the guy spots, and now I think a lot having to do with fit. Like the ladies wrestle like the guys, if not freaking badder than the guys.
Yeah. Especially if you go back and watch.
I hope that people look at it that way. It's funny because I have 2 stepdaughters, and they're teenagers. Yeah. And the first time they ever saw me wrestle, they watched the whole show, and I said, "What did you guys think? Did you like it? And what did you guys think was good?" And they said, "Well, yeah, we liked it all, but we felt like the girls made it look more real." Not that it's not very physically real. And so they enjoyed that we were more aggressive. And I feel like the girls always feel like we need to be, because we are unique to the business. You know, there's a smaller group of us. Right. And I know I always feel the pressure. I feel the pressure of topping my last match. I always feel the pressure of actually stealing. I want to steal the show every time. I mean, it's not just about having a good match. I want to steal the show every time. So we put that pressure on ourselves. And I feel like girls in general are critiqued a little bit harder.
They are, but at the same time, there was a time when the ladies weren't even looked at to steal the show. You know, it was just a special attraction.
You're right.
Yeah, and you wouldn't even have a crew of ladies. You wouldn't have a roster of ladies. You would have like one like marquee lady, and then you would bring in like a lady here or there for her to work with. It was like, you know, I talked to Medusa last week, and it was kind of like when they would bring the little people back then. They called them the midget wrestling. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. It's so true. I mean, I'm so glad it's grown.
Oh my God.
So when you went into TNA, there wasn't a women's division in place. Was that something that you had to suggest to them, or had they already talked to you like ahead of time in terms of developing it?
Yeah, so basically what happened was I got fired from WWE. I took a year off. I almost quit the business. I agreed to do a show in Australia, and most of the roster that was booked on that show was from TNA. You know, like Jeff Jarrett, Scott, people from The Office. And I'd worked with Scott on the Indies with him and Terry Taylor with a lot of their promotions. And so Scott called me up and he said, "Listen, Jeff really likes you. He thinks that you're talented, and we want to have a women's division one day, but we just don't have the time on, you know, programming wise. We only had an hour back then." Yeah. And he said, "Just be a little patient, and we want to bring in some girls." And, you know, I came in, my passion flood reignited because I saw all the guys I worked at Independence with, and I was like, oh, I love, you know, it brought back why I got into the business. And then, so about a year and a bit passed, and I was like, guys, I can't manage anymore, because I just can't watch these guys doing what I love, and time is just ticking away, and I feel like I've been patient. And so eventually, like a month later, Jeff said, "Do you think you can work Jackie Moore?" And I was like, "Absolutely.
Yes.
Like, I'll work anyone you got." And Jackie came in, and they loved it because, you know, Jackie, she'll beat any guy's ass.
Damn right.
She's legitimately, and I've wrestled some really strong big girls, the strongest girl I've ever been in the ring with.
And quite possibly the toughest.
Yes,
she is one tough woman. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell this story, which a lot of fans kind of know if they watched back then. But we had a street fight one time, and Jim Cornette was our agent. And so Jim's like, "Have you ever done the piñata spot? You know, with the garbage can over the head and you swing away with the broomstick?" And so I said no, but he kind of explained it, but he didn't tell me which way to swing. You're supposed to look at the feet and all that. And so I didn't, and I swung away, and I knocked out her two front teeth. And we taped, I think, another show where she was part of another segment, like 2 segments later. Her teeth gets knocked out. She said, "Does anyone have any sugarless gum?" She chewed it, stuck it up in the space, and went back out there.
Wow. Yeah,
like,
that sounds like
I
her.
was like, bless this girl.
Yeah, no. Hey, Gail, speaking of Jackie Moore, I just watched the cage match, a 6 sides of steel cage match you have with her. Great match. Fantastic match.
Thanks.
Yes, and I was thinking as I'm watching it, exactly what you were talking about a little bit ago. Just your intensity and so many things that you can't learn in a wrestling school. Like you're displaying, and your connection with the people, and knowing when to go to them, when to fire, and it doesn't look contrived. Some people when they go to fire, it's just like, okay, this is the spot where I fire up. No, you do it when it's supposed to happen, and the finish was great too. I loved it. Just what a hell of a match.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I don't remember at what level of confidence I was for that match. The things that stand out from that match I remember is begging for that match because we had never had a steel cage match at that point before. Now we've had several in the company, which is great. So it's almost kind of a norm. Yeah. But back then, we please let us have a steel cage match. And then I just remember, the end of it. And I remember, this is so silly, and this is how passionate I guess I am or was back then. And we came back from that match, and I bawled my eyes out, and I never cried. And I was there were tears of joy that it happened, and that it happened with Jackie, and that, we were really happy that it was kind of, because we had to prove ourselves at that point. We were still proving ourselves, so.
I'd say you did.
Great memory.
Yeah, I'd say you did. And especially, I really loved the finish when you were going to walk out the cage door, and you said, F it, and you slammed the cage door and climbed to the top of the cage. It was just great.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, do you prefer 6 sides or 4 sides? Which is something we always ask people who wrestled in TNA.
Oh, am I allowed to say this? I prefer 4 sides, but I can do both. I mean, if I was going to pick one, I would pick 4 sides only because of, now I'm used to it, so I don't have to look behind me where I'm whipping my opponent. But at first, even coming back to it, when we had the 4 sides for a while, it was kind of, you're just trying to get your placement in the ring. And I love that it makes us different. I love that the fans love it because we did do an actual vote, and fans overwhelmingly picked that 6 sides. So I think it does make us unique, at least.
Gail, my issue, my main issue with the 6-sided ring is this: when you're standing on the top rope, it's really easy to fall off.
Yeah. So I always kind of use the ring, the steel ring part of it. I don't know how to describe it, but I can't stand on the post.
Okay.
So I kind of adjusted to that. So it's kind of a pain for people who like to stand right on the buckle, because it's kind of shaky.
Yeah, and it looks a little.
So we work with it.
I think it looks neat, and I didn't mind working in it. It was just the standing. Whenever I went to the top, I already have like a balance issue, and I'm afraid of heights. So, yeah. So that was my issue. Like some people say it's a little stiffer to take a bump in it. I never noticed, honestly.
I think at times it has been, but now I feel like Bob, who builds the ring, he fixed that. So I don't feel like it's harder in any way. Not anymore.
So Gail, what's the difference between, in terms of the women's matches for the layouts, what's the difference between TNA and WWE in terms of putting your match together?
Oh, I would say that's a good question, actually. I've never been asked that question before. I guess the difference is in WWE, it's a little bit more controlled in some ways. For example, we always had Fit as our agent, and most of the time anyways. And so he would tell us to do certain things at times. Not the whole match, because we kind of worked together. But if there was something he really wanted us to do, then we would do it. Whereas in Impact, it's kind of different, where we have more independence, I would say, you know. And I'm very, now at this point, I'm very, I don't want to say control. I am controlling, I guess, in some ways. Like, I'm not, don't tell girls what to do, but when it comes to my own creation of the match.
You call your own shots, Gail?
Yeah. We work together, but...
You can say it. You deserve it. You earned it.
No. I do. I'm very, I have a strong point of view, but I will always, I never tell the girls what to do. I will suggest, hey, you want to do this? Because I feel like sometimes people don't think outside the box. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I always strive to do is I want to be creative. I want to think outside the box and do things that other people don't do. And, you know, and I never want to bore the fans. And when it comes to a quality wrestling match. So, but with the girls, you know, I just we all hear each other's ideas and we put it all together.
Yeah.
It's really a team effort, honestly. It really is. That's where I feel like that's the main difference between the two companies, from my experience. I don't know if it's changed over there because I haven't been there for now 6+ years. So I know Fit's still the agent there. So, I mean, the quality of wrestling with the women there has gone up tremendously as well.
So your feud with Awesome Kong, you know, you had the big guy, little guy type of match. You know, what was it like wrestling with someone of like a different size, and what kind of preparation did you do before this match, especially because the crowd was just so behind you and just loved every aspect of this?
I will say, well, there's no different preparation. I mean, after the fact is different because well, you know what? With Kong, I always felt like I always bring it, but I had to bring it on another level, I think, with her. And it's funny because we'd always say to each other, she says, "You make me feel like I'm in Japan again." Like, because the girls are, I guess, very fiery and feisty. And I always tell her, I'm like, well, I have to really bring it with you because it's like, if I don't, then it's not going to look good. And we just had a mutual respect, too. There was one time, and people don't know this story, her back went out and they had to keep on pushing our match back. And so she didn't seem like, she's like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to have this match. And I said, you know, you're not with it though. Like, are you sure? And I said, if I have to slap you across the face, I'm going to do it. And she's like, Gail, you and I have that relationship, so you can go do it.
Yeah, hey, as a smaller guy, Gail, that used to make a specialty out of working that David and Goliath style match. To me, I think it's an easier match to put together. It's I enjoy it. I enjoyed being the smaller, the David to other people's Goliath.
Yeah. So I do too, because it gives you a story automatically, you know, behind the match. And I believe in, you know, even if you don't have a storyline with another wrestler and you're thrown into a match, I believe that you should build a story within that match and entertain the fans in some way, and not just go out there and kind of do a basic match.
And
you know? So
there's a lot of guys that are, you see some of the like Enzo Amore wrestling. I don't know if you follow WWE at all anymore, but I'm just giving a quick example. Enzo versus Big Cass. Okay, like honestly, they could have used to watch your match with Awesome Kong to see how you do it, because I mean, you kept yourself alive the whole time. You always fought back. You didn't just die waiting for your spot to, you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, I think that's just instinct maybe at some point. I don't know how. Those guys have to be very experienced, I'm guessing. Correct?
I know this. No, I mean not. Okay. They're, they just got brought up to the main roster about a year ago or so, right?
Okay.
But regardless, not just them. I was just using them as an example, but everyone, everyone could watch that. Like like people will use other matches, matches, men versus men. Like this match right here is as good as any David and Goliath match to watch and see. Like how you do a match like that.
You could see the intensity that Fit instilled in you from the forearms right from the beginning. The forearms you throw at Kong look like you're trying to knock her out. And that was every match you ever had with Kong. So you could definitely see the intensity.
I mean, I will tell you, after the match, I always felt like hell the next day. But I wouldn't trade. And I told her this. I said, I think you've taken years off my career. And she said, but you know what? I would never take back one single second for, ever for what we had. And, like I said, it's just also a mutual respect we have for one another. I just saw her last week, actually. It was nice to see her. Nice. She's doing really well with this Glow on Netflix.
You like it? Have you watched it?
Have you guys seen it? Yes, I watched the whole season within 2 days.
Yeah, it's great, right?
Yeah, I love it. And she was a rock star.
Yeah, she is.
I'm proud of her.
Well, is that something you would be interested in, maybe on Glow Season 2, Gail Kim in Glow season 2?
Well, it's funny because I found out about the show happening, and maybe a few months before it all started, I tried to get the job to train the actresses. I wasn't trying to get an on-screen role. And okay. I found out Chavo Guerrero got it. So Chavo's one of my good friends. So I was like, oh, you took the job or you got offered the job that I was trying to get.
The thing is the Guerreros have had that job in Hollywood locked up for decades, whether it was Mondo or any of them.
I know. And I said, I'm happy for him. Chavo's doing great, too. He is doing all kinds of stuff, So he's awesome.
Hey,
yeah, I'm happy for him.
Were you about to ask
something? So, Awesome Kong, she was there when you got inducted into the Hall of Fame. So when that happened, did any other friends from the industry did anybody reach out to you when that happened?
Oh, you mean through the phone or whatever?
Yeah, phone or emails.
Just got, people just saying congratulations, and it meant the world to me that they all came that day. And actually, they gave me the choice of who I wanted to induct me, and it was really a hard decision. And I wanted it to be someone female, but then I think it was a great choice to have the three of them because Christy's my best friend in wrestling. I'm the godmother to her child. Nice. So. And then Taryn and Kong were two of my greatest, rivalries throughout my career. So I wanted all of them to say just a little something, and it was a great moment for me to have them there. I was really happy.
The one person I noticed that I would have liked to have seen there was Molly Holly.
Yes, and I didn't ask her. But I felt like she had left the business, and we still keep in touch, maybe text, not that much, a couple of times a year. But then I just recently saw that she's starting to train at Kennedy School.
Yep, Ken and Sean DeVaries.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, Molly's back in the business in some way. So I was kind of shocked because she left for so long.
Sure, I thought
she
wasn't
really keeping up with wrestling.
Yeah, I thought she had enough of it, because honestly, she seems like she's too good for wrestling.
She was always different from everyone else in the sense that she was always, she was religious.
Yep.
And she was always. What stood out to me the minute I met her, because she's the one who created my opportunity in the business and gave my, pictures and my videos back then to the office to get my tryout. And she was always so giving, and such a kind soul. For back then, when nobody was giving, I felt like it was a more selfish business. And I was like, what other girl is going to say to Beth Phoenix was also there.
Yeah.
And she took both of our stuff. It's like, what other girl is going to say, hey,
let me try to get you, let me try to get you a spot where you might take my job. No, everyone else, Gail, everyone else would have taken your pictures and said, I'll give it to the office, and they would have thrown that shit in the garbage can.
Yeah, probably. And, and so she's one of the people that I always try to model, I guess, my morale. After, because I just felt like, I want to be that same way and be giving, because I felt like I got thrown in with the wolves when I started. It was crazy.
Yeah, she's okay. Sometimes it's easy to leave this industry without your soul, and if you use somebody like that, as far as moral compass wise, you can get out of this business with your soul intact.
You're doing pretty good for yourself.
Yeah, so true. And it's funny because I was just saying to everybody, I always say wrestling's like the mafia. Once you get in, you can't get out. I mean, it really is.
Yep.
For even people who I've thought left the business completely, and she's one of them, they always come back in some way or want to come back.
That's right.
And it's this deep connection and passion, I guess, that we all have.
That's right, CM Punk. Anyways.
Before we get too far away from talking about the Hall of Fame, I'm curious as to whether you've heard anything about, is it going to be renamed the GFW Hall of Fame? Is it always going to be the TNA Hall of Fame?
Oh, I'm pretty sure they're dropping the TNA. Not sure how that's gonna go. Actually, I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Who do you think the next person? Who do you think the next person in the GFW Hall of Fame will be?
Oh boy.
Or if you had a choice, who would you put in?
Well, AJ's in WWE, so that's not happening. A lot of those guys, I think if anyone, the person I feel like is most deserving, and probably because I've worked with him so long, so I don't know how fans feel, but I would think that they would agree, is Abyss.
Oh yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't believe he's not in yet.
Abyss
Very.
has been there a long
Yes.
time.
And like
such a great talent, and he produces behind the scenes, and nothing against all the other producers, but I think he's the best producer. I mean, he's so good, and what he contributes to the company, because I know, he deserves it.
And he's such a wonderful
Or
human.
it could be Jeremy Borash. Right? He's been there forever too.
Yeah, but I think I would go with Abyss over JB.
Abyss is a homegrown talent from there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And he's such a nice guy. And he used to always come up to me, "Are you mad at me? I love you, man. Are you mad at me?"
He sounded exactly like him right now.
So Gail, speaking
that's exactly what he says.
Yep.
So speaking of the rebranding of TNA to Global Force Wrestling, you've been through most, if not all, of the different management changes in TNA. What was it like as talent having to go through that, and what were your thoughts?
To be honest, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. I always said after this last run of WWE, I always said, I'm not going to complain about anything. I know where I'm truly happy, and even if things get bad, I'm not going to complain because I do what I love, and I'm in a place where I'm happy. And so I was there when we first got on Spike, and that's when I started with the company. So I already know what Jeff is capable of. I already know he cares about the company and how it's going to succeed. So that in itself, I have the same desire for the company to grow and do better. But when it goes through its downs, and obviously we've been through so many roller coaster emotions, I just kind of go with the flow. I feel like every time, even if the morale is really low, when we get to TVs, nobody notices because we just come together, to be honest.
Yeah.
And once the shows start, we all want to put on the best show. So it's almost like the morale gets boosted again every time we go out there. So I don't notice it maybe as much as other people because I just am happy, and I've always told myself that's how it's going to be.
That's a really good policy to have, because when you get and I've done it, I've been guilty of it, getting caught up in everything that's going on, and man, it can just, it's just the chaos, and it makes you miserable, and then you make other people miserable because everyone's bitching about everything, and mind you, I mean, there could be, legitimate gripes, but there's ways of doing it, and there's ways of doing it with keeping a positive attitude as well.
Yeah, and I'm just attracted more to positive energy too. So I don't want to hear, especially too when fans think that we're gonna go down, we're gonna disappear, we're gonna be out of business, and we're still going. People were saying that years ago, and we're still going. So.
Nice.
So I have a few questions. So you had mentioned in previous interviews that you were really close friends with Alicia Fox. So one, do you still talk to Alicia Fox? And two, also being a Toronto native, do you go back to Toronto a lot? And have you been to Trish Stratus's yoga spot out there?
I have not been to her yoga spot because I'm not a yogi, and I've tried it maybe 5 times and hate it. And I really want to love it because I know it's going to heal my body, but I just can't get into it, and I don't know why. But she sent me, because she knew I was trying to get into it, she sent me her whole DVD set and her gloves that come with it. So I'm definitely using those gloves. I just haven't really used the DVDs. But I have tried, and she's great at it, and I'm so glad that she got to expand her brand into another field, which is great. And then I've had other friends that have gone to her studio, and they said it's beautiful. Have you gone to it?
I haven't. It's in North York, which is, like, as you know, it's like a really kind of better place as far as houses, and there's richer people.
It's a ritzy area.
In that area. Yeah, that is on my to-do list. But how often do you go back to Toronto?
Well, I actually I just applied for my citizenship here. I'm going to keep my Canadian citizenship as well, so I'm going to do dual. But I lost my green card last December again for like the third time. So I said I'm not going to get another one. I'm just going to apply for my citizenship because it's been long enough, and I haven't been able to travel out of the country. So I haven't been there since last year. Okay. So I just got my interview date to become a citizen, hopefully. And then I'm going to go back probably, I think I'm trying to go wrestle my last match in Toronto in October.
Oh, okay.
That'd be awesome.
Like your last match, retiring last match, or your last match in Toronto last match?
In Toronto last match.
Oh, okay, I see.
And so I announced my retirement for the end of 2017.
Silly me, I'm sitting here thinking, why do you need to get a green card? You're married. You got married now, and then I realized, oh, wait, your
American.
husband's not from here.
Yeah, well, he's American. Actually, he is an American.
Is he?
And I could have done this before I even married him because I had my green card. But even the customs officers were always giving me lectures. Why haven't you done it? Why haven't you done it? I'm like, I know. Yeah. And so I finally did it.
So,
and I waited for Donald Trump to be in office to do it.
Nice. So, like anybody,
integration lines,
there might be a few people. There might be a few people that don't know your husband is Robert Irvine. And
Restaurant Impossible.
Yes, and
that was my next question, actually.
And so, so he's actually American. He sounds British to me.
Yeah.
He gave up his citizenship there to become an American citizen.
Oh, I see.
And I told him, I said, I don't know if I can give up my Canadian.
Yeah, don't
do
that.
Don't do it.
I know.
Don't do that.
I know. I'm not.
Canada kicks ass.
So Gail, I have to ask you. You're married to one of the most well-known chefs in the entire world. What's your favorite thing that he cooks for you at home?
Oh. I mean, honestly, there's not one favorite thing, and it sounds like I'm not giving a real answer, but everything he cooks is good. So he doesn't cook that often, because people think that he cooks for me all the time, but we travel all the time, so we don't have a kitchen. And when he's home, he doesn't want to cook, because, I mean, that's what he does some of the time that he's on the road. So everything he cooks at least is something different than I would cook, because I don't know how to make these. First off, we cook healthy. So when we do, he has better knowledge of making different types of sauces that would taste good that's low fat. Like I would just probably get something out of a jar. Right. That's the difference. Mm-hmm.
Hey, please tell him, I think he makes a hell of a protein bar, by the way. It's amazing.
Okay, I will.
Tastes great.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are always out on the road, you must eat out a lot. What is it like going to restaurants with him?
Most of the time, it's kind of half and half. It's great because they send out food, because they want to show them, their skills or what kind of dishes they have. But also, they get so nervous. Like the servers get so nervous, so we get sometimes bad service because they're too nervous, and they normally act like the rest of the table doesn't exist because they're so concentrated on him. And then I'd say the only con might be people who come up a lot while we're eating, but you just accept those things and get used to it.
Yeah. You get a double. You get people that know who you are and people that know he is. So
that's what I was wondering.
You're not going anywhere.
To him, no, I mean, if I'm around, I guess wrestling fans and stuff. But it's funny because when he comes to my work, he is Gail's husband, and then when rest of the time, I'm his wife.
Nice.
So
Mr. Kim.
Yes, we call him Mr. Kim.
That's great.
I always call him that.
Nice.
That's so awesome.
Hey, so did you guys meet when he came and did that thing, WWE SummerSlam? Is that where you met?
Yes. So for SummerSlam, he did his old show, Dinner Impossible,
right.
And it was funny because I wasn't supposed to be on the show, and Mark Carano, every week you're supposed to check in to get your appearances for the week, and he had left the room, so I started scrolling through his computer, which I never have done. I never did before that moment. Honestly, I never did. And he walks in, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I don't know if you'll remember this. And I said, "Oh, I'm going through your computer." And I just noticed that there's a Food Network thing, and I love cooking, and I love food, so why am I not on it? Because originally it was supposed to be, I think Taryn Terrell was supposed to be on it. And then so he goes, "Okay, we'll see if we can get you added." So he got me added. And then the day of the actual shoot, she got sick with food poisoning.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, I was already added regardless, but that's how we met.
Gail slipped her some rotten food and got her sick.
You know, that's the version Robert always gives. He's like, "Yeah, sure, she got it. Yeah, sure." Probably put some Visine in her drink or something.
Oh, damn.
Taryn's one of my good friends.
Haven't heard that one in a while.
So, so you're planning on retiring at the end of 2017. What's the game plan, or what do you want to do after the retirement?
Well, I started producing for the company, and so I'm just started that at the last TV. So I'm kind of doing double duty right now. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that because I was already kind of, I guess in the last year or two, I already felt like I was changing my mindset in the sense of just helping the girls a little bit more. I felt like a mom or, I don't know, big sister. And so I felt like the natural progression was to go in that direction. And I'm fortunate because I'm still able to stay in the business and do what I love and contribute to the company. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to miss wrestling. Yeah. And if it wasn't for my back, I probably wouldn't have announced my retirement. But, you know, at some point, there's got to be a reason. And I never want the fans to see me getting any slower or not being able to give them my all. So I always said that once that started happening, then I'd have to hang it up. So
the thing is, Gail, is the great part about it, though, is that it's your life and your career, and if you want to wrestle again, you can do it at any time you want. You can change your mind. It's as simple as that.
It's so funny because everyone in the company keeps on saying to me, "Well, you're not really retiring."
Just taking a moment.
Yeah, I am. Because my back is just, my L4 and L5 are pretty much gone. They're pretty much gone. So like I said, I feel like I'm not going to be able to give the fans my all, and I don't want them to remember that. I want them to remember me being at my best.
Now, is there any matches or any dream matches that you wish that you could have before you're finished? I know you had mentioned that Natalya, you would love to fight again, as well as Alicia Fox. Is there anybody else added to the list that you'd like to?
I mean, there's a ton of talented girls in that company, right? Obviously, that I would love to work with, but I'm not in that company, so I doubt that it'll happen. And then I do want to work with Rosemary again in Impact, and I'm trying to think, because I've worked with most of the other girls, and the other girls I feel like if I could work all of them just to help in some way, obviously I would. There's too many girls to really mention, and I don't know, because a lot of people have been asking me, who do you want to be your last match? Honestly, I don't know.
Say there's a fantasy match, like you could create whatever, it could be whoever you want.
Oh boy. Well, I don't want to answer that question.
Well,
because they're all in the other company.
Is there any
majority of them? Most of those girls are very experienced and have been.
Who would you like to? Are there any girls available out there right now, Gail, that you'd like to see come to GFW?
Oh, yeah. There's a couple of girls that have a lot of talent that I feel like I've seen that have a lot of potential. I like Britt Baker. You know Britt Baker?
Yep.
She's on an independent scene. A lot of these girls have only about 2 years of experience behind them, and obviously have a long way to go, but I've seen so much potential from them. So I think that they'll be great one day, even better than what they are now. I like, else is there out there? I'm trying to think on the independent scene.
Are you familiar with
we
Mercedes
already
Martinez?
Don't have we've picked up a couple of girls, but I can't actually reveal that right now.
Okay.
No exclusives for us?
Hey,
No, I can't do it.
Gail, I was reading. It might have been a few months ago. Stephanie McMahon sent out a tweet, and she was praising Triple H for. I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. She was praising him for the work he's done with the ladies, and you sent out a tweet, maybe replying to that, and basically just talking about how hey, let's not forget about what TNA has done. I'm paraphrasing. But.
Yeah. I mean, I always actually give credit to Hunter for the WWE Women's Revolution, because he is the one that did start it in NXT. Because without him doing it down there, I don't think it would have happened up on the main roster. So kudos to him for believing in the women. And even when I left that company, he was very kind and said, you're talented, and I hope that we can do more with women's wrestling, to this day. But I feel like it was done before that, and I don't want, I think Impact Wrestling deserves credit for that, because they were doing it, I don't know, like, how long ago? More than 7 years ago now? Wait, 2007.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, and
2007.
What I was getting at is a very, very fair point you were making. Absolutely. I don't see how anyone could really argue with that.
No, and and the thing is, they've never stopped doing it. And
Right.
That's the thing. So once they started the women's division and brought the title there. They've never had a lapse in time where they don't have the women treated as athletes or, strong women and giving them the time to wrestle in the ring. They've never strayed from that. But I will say, when I was in WWE the first time, I liked the balance of having a women's division. It was like Trish, Victoria, Jazz, Molly, and all those girls. And then on the other hand, they had the girls who didn't want to wrestle so much, and
that's fine
like Dawn
too.
Marie and Stacy. I thought the mix of the talent was awesome, and I thought some guys would like to look at the girls who will manage and be more characters, and then have the women's division as well.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen those girls just be. I would have liked for the company to just let those girls stay in their roles and not force them in the ring, actually.
Yeah, because some of them didn't like it,
Right.
And I was like, well, why are you going to force them if they don't want to? And they're already strong in their characters.
Right, and they still brought a lot to the table. They were still, bringing something. They were still adding a lot to the show.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
So Gail, looking back at your career, what would you say was your most memorable moment, something that you would cherish with you after your retirement?
Oh, boy. That one's hard. I have a couple. So I think probably what will come to mind is being the first TNA Knockouts champion, because we fought for it for so long, and I just kept on saying, like, I want to wrestle. So it was like the payoff to what I worked so hard for all that time and begged for all that time. So that will probably be the top moment, I guess I could say.
Right on. You know what's so great about that, too? What's so great about it is, and I remember this, your segments were the highest rated segments on the show, regardless.
With Awesome Kong, yeah, at that time. It was great. I mean, it was more than we ever hoped for. All we wanted to do was go out there and kick ass.
And it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't like, okay, well, they had a good lead-in segment, so that's why their ratings were good for their segment. No, it was week in and week out. That's a fact.
Well, I will say the contributing factor to both her and Taryn, and you don't see so much of this these days in wrestling in general, is it was a long storyline. Like, they built both of those storylines over the course of 6 months. And now I feel like people rush storylines, and it doesn't last that long, and they build to the next pay-per-view, which is the next month, and it's not enough time, I feel like, for the fans to get invested and get emotionally attached. And I feel like with both of those, they were built slow and right. And so that's part of the reason, a big part of the reason.
Yeah. Hey, Gail, do you have a plan for your exit for your last match?
No.
No.
No plan.
No ideas, no thoughts in your head. Like, geez, Interesting.
I mean, a lot of people have asked me, and it's just hard because the first part is really the opponent.
Yeah.
And I've had a hard time with that. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, there's not too many shopping days left till Christmas, Gail.
There's going to be discussions, but well, the fans will have to see. There's been some ideas thrown around. So.
Well, in TNA at the time, you've done lethal lockdown matches, cage matches, ladder matches. Destination X is coming up. Possibly a Ultimate X match?
No, First Blood?
Well, all I know is I'm trying to go for the title, and that's what I'm aiming for because I've told all the fans I want to retire on top and, at my best. So that's my goal, but we'll see what happens. We'll have to see what unfolds in the next couple of weeks on TV.
That would be nice. That would be appropriate for you to retire as the champion, I think, and then they can have a tournament like a Mae Young Classic style tournament for the title.
Yeah,
right.
Which I love, by the way, that they're doing that.
I was going to ask you about that.
I am actually. I'm excited to watch it because there's a lot of girls in that tournament that I like and that I feel are talented and that I've come across in some way or another. Met, wrestles, or whatever it is, and so happy for them. I think that it's a great opportunity to be seen, just beyond the independent scene, and hopefully some of them will get contracts out of it.
Yeah. Hey, Gail, like when you're done, like we were talking about Trish expanding her brand. And do you have any like directions that you're hoping your brand goes in?
Well, I'm always one of those people that when I talk about it, I don't want to jinx it, and
that's fine.
I always kind of go with, I kind of just always go with the flow of, let's just say that when there's opportunities that are brought to me,
yes,
most of the time, if they're something that piques my interest, I can't, even out of fear, I will never say no. I'm one of those people that I don't want to regret not trying something or doing something, and who knows? I don't know. A lot of people have talked to my husband and I about doing stuff, but nothing has been right so far that we feel like is right. But there's a couple of things that have been presented, and we'll see how it all unfolds.
Now, is that something you've talked about?
But definitely the wrestling is always going to stay,
yeah,
I feel like.
Sure.
Because, that's my true passion.
And so have you talked with your husband about doing a project together? Because I know, like, sometimes that can not be the best thing for a relationship.
Oh, yeah. And that's the whole reason why we haven't done a lot of things that people have presented to us, because we just don't want to, for example, a reality show. We would never want to do that because I feel like it's a curse, right? We don't want to do a reality show. And then we've got to find something that plays to the strengths of both of us and that can be balanced very well, and not just something that's thrown together, because people always look at us and think, oh, food and health and fitness, and we're like, okay, well, what is that though? What makes it interesting and what makes it different from things that are out there? So we're just picky. I think we're just picky. And he's got a full schedule.
I was going to say, and because people, they talk about, about you doing stuff with food. Your husband's jacked. You ever talk about getting in the wrestling ring?
He's done some stuff here and there with Impact where he's been in the crowd. He's never done anything in the ring. And you know what it is? He knows how hard it truly is. And I think people who don't know the business and they watch it, they think, oh, yeah,
I can do that.
And, they could barely step into the ring, and, it's way harder than people think. And so one time, I got to tell this story. So we were at a live event one time, and I tried to include him. And I said, just give me the napkin when I ask for it, because it was just this spot.
Yeah.
And he was so unnatural and phony. And I said to him, I go, babe, you're so good at being you on television. But when it comes to wrestling, I'm like, that was really bad.
Nice.
So now he's learned through the years, and he always says, I respect what you guys do, so I would never try to do it.
Right on. And one more question about your marriage. Have you guys thought about having kids?
We are not going to have kids.
Okay.
I have 2 stepgirls, one's in college and one's in high school. And I think that, because of wrestling also, obviously, I've never had the opportunity to get pregnant, and I never had the strong urge either. And so, 51, I'm 40, and so we're just like, if we had kids now, we'd be old parents, right? So I think we're just going to enjoy what we have.
Yeah. Do you got any dogs? Do you got any dogs and cats?
No, we travel too much to even have a fish.
No dogs in your life. Come on, Gail.
We don't have anything. We have nothing. Yeah. But we're very blessed.
Yeah, you are. Anything else you guys want to throw at Gail before we let her go?
In your Hall of Fame speech, you had this great quote that says, "A successful woman creates a firm foundation with the bricks others have thrown at her," which I thought was excellent.
Yeah.
Who are some of these brick throwers?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily, I felt held down in WWE to be, and that's no secret. I just never, and it was just the wrong timing, I felt like, within that company, because when I first came into the company, the women's division was strong with Trish and Jazz and all those girls. And then once the first Diva search happened, it kind of went away, and that's when I got fired, actually. And mind you, it brought me my best friend, which is Christy Hemme.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was just thinking about.
It just always felt like it just never was. That company was never a right fit for me. I felt like what I had to offer was never utilized. My personality just didn't fit within that company. I just never enjoyed it both times. So I'll just chalk it up to, listen, I met my best friend, I met my husband,
Right.
I met great friends for life. All those experiences made me who I am today. I wouldn't take it back.
Hey, you ever talk to Nydia?
Nydia, yes, I just saw her at an appearance. I love that girl.
Isn't she awesome? I love her too.
She's the best.
Yeah.
She just has another woman with great energy who gets along with. She's a girl's girl, and the guys love her too. Obviously.
No kidding. I was lucky enough to date her for a couple of months several years ago, and she was just amazing. Yes, it was like a little summer romance thing.
Aww.
It didn't work out though, because I lived in Mexico. And she has such a beautiful little daughter, and she's happily married now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Have you seen her though lately? She looks amazing.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
She's an amazing woman.
Yeah, she looks so good.
In many ways.
She truly is.
She's quite the character too.
I don't want to know that much.
We're all shaking our head here.
So, hey, before we let you go, Gail, is there do you want to plug any your social media or any projects you got going on?
Yeah. So I am on social media on Twitter and Instagram. Gail Kim, it's me. And I don't have Facebook, so a lot of people ask me that all the time. And whatever you see out there is fake. And then Impact Wrestling, you can catch me on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock on Pop TV.
Nice. Awesome.
Destination X, August 17th on Pop TV.
Gail, Gail, thank you so much for giving us your time today. So grateful for it.
Anytime.
And
Anytime, guys.
I look forward to actually having a conversation with you in person one day.
Yes, let's do that.
Yes.
We definitely have to do that and take
Cool.
the time.
Now that we're friends.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much, Gail.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
It's
you.
so much fun.
Have an awesome day.
Thanks, Gail.
Thank you.
Gail
Thank
Kim,
you,
ladies and
guys.
gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, let's take a break real quick, and we'll come back, close the show.
Sounds good.
Hey guys, Maria Menounos here. We want to let you know about my new show on SiriusXM Stars Channel 109. It's called Conversations with Maria, and it's live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Go to conversationswithmaria.com for more info. Buzz you later.
Hey, we're back on XPac 12360, and Gail Kim was fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, she was great.
So much fun.
So, hey, Denise, great questions, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I love Gail Kim. I was lucky enough to see her at a young age wrestle in PWG, and she was one of the first women that I saw wrestle in person that I was just like, wow, like she's got skills, you know, and it was
Was she in PWG before WWE?
I don't remember. This was back like probably like in 05-ish around there.
Oh, so maybe that was right before.
Yeah.
No, in between.
In WWE in 2002, right?
Mm-hmm. It was in between. It was in between.
But like seeing her in person was like, and so up close was like next level for me because I had never experienced that before. So seeing that, I was just so impressed by her. So that I've always had so much respect from her from that moment on. So.
Cool. So, all right, you guys. What else do we have going on here before we get out of here and let these people?
Man. All our social media. Have you checked your DMs yet?
No.
All our social media, AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, The Real X-Pac, IG, XPac12360, Facebook, XPac12360 Show. Also on iTunes, make sure you give us 5 stars. We will not accept anything else. Make sure the comments keep coming for YouTube and etc. Also, shirts at Pro Wrestling Tees / Sean Waltman.
The newsletter. Denise made this awesome newsletter. Tell us.
Yeah, you guys can now sign up for the newsletter. It's a monthly newsletter that's going to be coming out the first of every month, and you guys can go to our Facebook page and you can sign up there. We will also be posting the links up on Twitter as well. It's all the latest news and exclusive stuff as well, which is really awesome.
It's really awesome. Like I worked really hard on it.
I shoot some shot some footage, just like little extra stuff that will be in the newsletter.
And we got polls too, so people can tell you what they want you to talk about, which is really awesome.
Sure. And okay, the first newsletter is the first newsletter, everyone, and it will expand, and more things will be added to it and all that. I hope everybody enjoys it, and thank you so much for doing that, Denise.
Of course. Kudos.
And I'm at The Real X-Pac on Twitter, and Lula is at It's Baby Lula on Instagram. And other than that,
where you can
find me on Twitter at Jimbo in the Booth.
You guys can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at _Denise Salcedo.
And you can find Bill at Sundown Motel.
That's right.
Why do you call it again?
Nope. Everywhere on social media, every platform.
Hey, Bill. Why Sundown Motel? No.
And you can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. It is the final week of my birthday season. If you do want to contribute, we made it.
Everybody,
what day is your actual birthday?
My birthday's tomorrow.
Oh!
Yeah. What? So if you guys still want to contribute to the Boys and Girls Club of the U.S. or Canada, please go to the taglines on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. I really appreciate you.
You've been working this birthday season gimmick all month.
6 weeks, actually.
6 weeks.
Wow.
See, I was thinking the birthday season. Your birthday is the midpoint.
See, I tried that. It doesn't work because after the birthday happens, people are not feeling it. So you have to do a build-up. So I've been doing dinners all week.
So after your birthday is the point in the 6 weeks when people aren't feeling the birthday.
Yeah, they're not feeling it. I can't say, hey, take me out for my birthday when my birthday was 2 weeks ago. So yeah.
Like when you said season, you meant literal season. Like
yeah,
almost
6 weeks.
Yeah. Like a 13-week TV season.
I mean, it's.
Again, I hope you get your back 9 picked up.
It just means like people that you don't see or talk to often. You reconnect with them. In the world that we're in now, we're so invested in our phones, society, all this other stuff, and we still need to reconnect with folks.
Yeah. And you celebrating your birthday for 6 weeks is how
it's like, hey,
we appreciate you.
Hey, it's my birthday. You have no choice to say no because it's my birthday. Let's go out.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Okay, everyone. Hey, so.
Next
week in studio, NXT superstar Drew McIntyre will be joining us as they're in town for a show at what is it called? What do they call it? The Nova?
The Nokia?
No. Yeah,
I think it's the Novo.
Novo. Yeah. Easy for me to say. All right, everyone. See y'all next week right here on XPac 12360.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Sean Waltman, producers Jimbo Frank and TK Trinidad, managing producer of AfterBuzz TV Wrestling Mark Donica, and the entire XPac 12360 staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in. Like us on Facebook, rate and comment on iTunes and YouTube. Follow XPac on Twitter at TheRealXPac and email us at xpac12360show@gmail.com. This has been a presentation of the AfterBuzz TV Network. Buzz you later.